Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome back. So, as per the suggestion given by Ampika, we are going to take fight and flight mechanism. And also, there was a suggestion in the group by, I think,
By Sophie.
Sophie. Yes, Sophie in the morning. That was so elaborate. She's also given a lot of information on. How to, I mean, what are our defense games? And she wants me to talk on that. Of course, being premium members, you know of a lot of other defensive games. You're already aware. Maybe we can recap during these sessions. What I'm planning is from this week, we will have alternate day sessions. One is where I talk, and second is where we do group healing and group recitation exclusively for premium members, which will not be aired on YouTube for the privacy reasons. So my conversation will be aired, and your questions, group healing, and group recitation will remain as a part of exclusive private recordings, which will be available to all premium members later, right? And I know once I talk about some of the defense mechanisms, you probably would like to address some of the defense mechanisms. So here we go. So, what are the defense mechanisms? Anything that you do to defend ourselves are defense mechanisms. Anything. So, we as humans, we as living being, we as part of the universe, we inherently are taken care of. We don't understand that always, and we don't always appreciate that. For example, the level of oxygen, the temperature maintenance, the body mechanisms, the water level, the moisture level, a lot goes on in ensuring that you are taken care of in a very natural way. I was once I met a researcher who was doing research on sparrows, and he told me, "Do you know why sparrows are disappearing?" Because he was doing research on that. I said, "How? Why?" He said, uh, "Because of all this Wi-Fi radiation frequencies. Somehow, some damaging effect has happened in their brains, and they've started not selecting the right kind of food that will enhance their calcium level, and because of that the eggs that they lay becomes very soft and fragile, and because of that very few sparrows are born." So it was an eye opener. I mean, of course, I went through the research a little later, but when he described that around 12 years back, I said, what are we doing to the environment somewhere? Though on one hand, we have amazing, ways to reach out to people, but sparrows are getting affected. If you see, I mean, what I used to see years back in my, bungalow compound and the garden, there were so many sparrows, and they would come home and even nest in my house. Now you hardly see sparrows, but you go to jungles, you go to remote places, the sparrows are still there. That means that also opened my eyes that how universe creates mechanism to ensure that animals eat the right kind of food which is needed for them. They understand what is poisonous, what is non-poisonous, what is required, what is needed for their nutrition level and stuff like that. Don't you think we being such intelligent people, we don't have those mechanisms? We do have those mechanisms. Children who are calcium deficient often try and lick the plasters, like they figure out the ways. Yet, as we grow up, we do not get this natural benefit because our own inhibitions to get those natural signals. We complicate ourselves by building the rules, beliefs, conditionings, we need to refer to internet, we need to connect to experts for things which are naturally available and naturally done, because we are lesser and lesser aligned to the nature, we are lesser aligned to our own higher consciousness. And then we need some of the defenses, because we get more vulnerable when we are not naturally aligned. Naturally aligned animals, humans, have their own, natural defenses available to them, and eventually they find themselves in lesser and lesser need for defending themselves. We start defending not for our survival, we defend for our pleasures, we defend for our position, we defend for our love, we defend ourselves against humiliations, defamations. We also have to defend our creations. We have to defend our spiritual connectivity. And we spend sometimes more time being defensive than actually living life the way we want to live. We're going to describe defense mechanisms one at a time in upcoming series, as suggested by Ambika and also demonstrated by Sophie in many ways. However, I'm going to leave this question to you. How are you defending yourself? So, how do you defend your survival? What do you do for it? And when I start enumerating the examples, you'll be amazed and surprised. How do we do that? Okay. How do you defend to ensure that you remain comfortable? So, how do you defend yourself and make sure that you remain comfortable? How do you defend your position, security? How do you defend your love life? How do you defend your prestige, your honor? And how do you defend your creations? And how do you defend your spiritual connection? So put those questions and give the answers to yourself. You can also share in the group of premium members, and we'll take it up from there. It's really interesting to figure out how do we defend. So we have inherited a flight and fight mechanism from our presumed animal ancestors or tribal ancestors. They had no choice but to have a fight mechanism or a flight mechanism. And some of them played dead. We have had that Panchatantra story. So there were three friends, as per the story, who went to the jungle. One of them was very strong and powerful. The second one was very scared one. And third one was very weak. And when a ferocious animal attacked them, the first one, who was strong, happened to fight. The scared one escaped and ran away. And the third one had no courage, at the same time, no strength, and did not even fly, or it did not even escape the situation. He was smart, though, intelligent. So what he did is he played dead. We have these three mechanisms in us too, not just for our survival, for anything and everything. So each individual has a tendency either to have fight mode of defenses, or flight mode of defenses, or playing dead mode of defenses. Which one are you using? Are you playing dead? Are you running away and escaping from the situation? Or are you most of the time in fight mode? And how do you fight? How do you flight? And how do you really play dead? It's a question that you need to ask yourself, and that will open up various possibilities. So this is the homework for you, a food for thought, and start listing them. And when you list them, you'll realize what are your defense mechanisms. And why should you really bother to even list them and work towards them and rise beyond them? Because most of the time, our life goes in playing defensive. We're not even full on available to life. If you keep defending yourself on and on, when are you going to live your life? Once you remain aware of your defenses, you will slowly rise beyond all the defensive needs and align to the higher consciousness and play an amazing game in a very constructive way in alignment with your life plan and life purpose. So let's spend some time trying to know ourselves in a better way. Thank you so much for joining. I open up now the question answer session. Any question on this?
Aatman, I wanted to ask, generally, sometimes I freeze when there is like when I get really, something happens and I freeze, like I can't move also. My body
Yeah.
just becomes like a statue. So is equivalent to playing dead then?
Yes, that's playing dead.
Okay.
You
Thank
benumb that part, freeze that part, you know?
Okay. But do we do that to safeguard us, or what is it? Or we just
Yeah,
need to ask
it's a
ourselves?
very conscious reactive mechanism. You've been pre-programmed with that. So when you perceive a threat, emotional threat, financial threat, or survival threat, the easiest for you is to freeze because you don't see yourself fighting. You don't find a scope to flight or run away from that. So what do you do? You did
Freeze.
part.
Thank you.
Most welcome. But you can easily unfreeze that later with awareness. Don't have to live life with frozen part of your being.
So, Atman, this is Paula. So sometimes this thought, if there is a situation comes up, so
Hmm.
stressful situation, there's a thought which comes to the head. No response is best response. I don't know why it keeps on coming, but it comes. So is that also called playing dead?
Yeah, it's in a kind of playing dead. I remain unavailable, numb. Okay.
Uh-huh.
However, with spiritual awareness, if you can understand why you design and chose this particular aspect, then probably you don't have to play dead, but you can be proactive and resolve a situation.
So that comes maybe after a few days.
Yeah, it comes with awareness. It's not
So
it's not
it doesn't
natural.
come at that time. It comes
No,
after
no.
a few days when the solution comes. Is
See,
that okay?
yes, it's perfectly fine. So all the reactions, the defense mechanisms are governed by subconscious mind. So when you perceive a threat, uh, your subconscious mind takes over. You know that being a doctor, right? The subconscious mind opens up. I mean, takes over the fight and flight and playing dead mechanism. These and they happen at subconscious level. You don't have too much of conscious control. However, as you spiritually evolve, you start connecting to your higher consciousness and super consciousness and can see the whole game plan correctly and take proactive measures to rise beyond the need to defend yourself.
Yes. Yes.
No, uh, you don't have to spend the whole lifetime trying to defend yourself. It's what a waste of time. You can constructively use it, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what the whole awareness series is all about. Let's do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So this is it for the day, for the time being. A lot of food for thought and keep mulling over what I said. Make a note. And for YouTube viewers, probably today is what? Wednesday. Huh. So for YouTube viewers, I'll see you on Friday. And for my premium members,